Welcome in to yet another edition of the Return of the Roar podcast. Chris Watkins, Franklin, Frankie, Cartoscelli. It's been a big talking point around Kings media recently is the name, the pronunciation, the spelling of one Franklin Cartoscelli.
Cartoscelli?
Cartoscelli.
That's the right way to say it, by the way. What you just said.
Really? Like
in Italy?
official.
In Italy, it's
Cartoscelli.
Cartoscelli. Yeah, and then in Italy, yeah.
Interesting.
But if you ask our new coworker Morgan Reagan,
that was butchered.
Cartoscelli. Yeah, that was tough. But it's okay.
That's right, Morgan.
I was telling you, I wish it was Deuce that messed it up, so I could just be like, Deuce, what the hell, man? But it's Morgan who's so nice and is so supportive. I have to kind of like just let it slide. I can't go at Morgan.
Mo Rogan. Yeah.
Mo Rogan would be, we're going on with them tomorrow, Friday. Check it out. Tomorrow, Friday, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Chris and I will be on with Deuce and Mo, and I might have to bring up the last name situation. But Chris, how are you doing personally?
You know, I'm doing all right, Frank. Like you mentioned, we're recording on Thursday right now, the day after the Kings. I think I can confidently say that was the most deflating or least fun game of the year that they played against the Toronto Raptors. Lowest scoring output of the season, 95 points. Coming off, I think the thing that really hurts, or not, I shouldn't say hurts because I'm not in pain, but the reason why the loss feels so much worse, I guess, is because it's coming off of immediately after the Grizzlies game on Monday, where arguably the Kings played their best defensive quarter I'll say defensive quarter of the season, and really one of the more fun games of the year against Memphis on Monday. Do you feel the same way about that? That is just kind of like such a low after an immediate high, and we're also going to talk about Monty's extension as well being dropped on Tuesday. Just kind of like a huge letdown after all such good feelings.
I mean, looking at it, the Memphis game was arguably the best offensive performance of the year. They shoot 55% from three. They hit 22 threes, 12 in the first quarter, 55 from the field overall, 133 points. They won by 33 points. That's their biggest margin of victory of the year. One game later, their worst offensive performance of the year. Very Jekyll and Hyde, like literally 95 points. They shoot 47% in the field, which isn't bad, 40 from three. It just was the way that they were getting those buckets and the way that they were forcing the ball into the paint. They had 19 turnovers. The Kings have turned the ball over 43 times over the past two games. It's just it's not something I want to sit here, and I think we're seeing a lot of overreaction, and that's the word I'm going to use is overreaction on Twitter about maybe the Kings aren't as real as everyone thinks they are, and the Kings were 7th in ESPN, and now look, they Kings it up after getting some respect in the national media. Look, I'm not going to let one game swing me how I feel about this team. They played against a tough Toronto defense, and Toronto's lineup is very unique. I think there's only a couple of lineups in the NBA that are like the Toronto Raptors. The Kings did have a tough time with the Orlando Magic earlier this season. They struggle with teams that have a lot of length. I think outside of Fred VanVleet, everyone else in the Raptors starting lineup was 6'7" or longer, I think. I mean, Gary Trent Jr., I think also. So you had three guys that are 6'9" or you have Pascal Siakam, you have Scotty Barnes, Chris Boucher had a big night last night. The Kings got killed in the paint. They've been beating the paint all season long. I think I was saying before we started recording that it's not something that jumps out and surprises me. The Kings have been getting killed in the paint all year long. They got killed in the paint against Memphis, who didn't have Steven Adams. They still won. They get beat in the paint last night, but turned the ball over more, and Toronto takes advantage. So it's not a good feeling. I was saying to you also that the Kings really need to do a better job of protecting home court. If you look at the standings right now, and the Kings are still the third seed in the West by games, plural. They have a 2-game lead over New Orleans. Out of those first four teams, the Nuggets are 22-4 at home. The Grizzlies are 20-3 at home. The Pelicans are 17-8 at fourth. The Mavericks are 17-9. Kings are 16-11. Is that a horrible home record? No, but the Kings where they are right now, I'm going to credit to the way they've been on the road. If the Kings are the way they are on the road over the past 5-6 years, They're bottom of the West or near the bottom of the play-in hunt for sure. So that's my biggest takeaway from yesterday, and even the past 4-game homestand. They split the 4-game homestand. They need to do a better job of protecting home court. And I don't know if you feel the same way or not, but I mean, are you personally more concerned with the one game against Toronto? I mean, obviously the whole season has shown that they need to do a better job of protecting the paint and they need length. We know that. But are you more concerned with that aspect of last night's game, or do you just think that they need to do a better job of protecting home court, period? Because now they're gone for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always I mean, home court is clearly something that is a real thing, having home court advantage. You mentioned all the other, Memphis is 20-3 at home, Denver's 22-4 at home. Golden State for a lot of this season, even though they were like terrible on the road, like 4-50
Still are
on the road.
18-6.
They still have a really good home record. So I think there is something very real about home court advantage. I think it's just I've never fully understood what it's the momentum for sure, and it's creating. You don't have to create your own energy like you do on the road. Hopefully the crowd can kind of get you picked up, but it's kind of one of those things. I'm definitely concerned about it for sure. Like being, especially in the playoffs, home when you have your home games, those are the games you have to win. You can't drop games at home and then expect to pick them up on the road, especially in the playoffs. That's just so incredibly hard to do. And you throw on top of the fact that this team is super inexperienced. That's not a formula for success. So, in the grand scheme of things, you're absolutely right. Like I have seen the overreactions on social media specifically, just people feeling like after going on the 6-game win streak, for them to lose to Philadelphia without their 2 stars, for them to, that Memphis game. Yes, you mentioned it was the biggest margin of victory for the Kings of the season, but for 3 quarters, that was an incredibly close game, without John Morant, without Steven Adams, 2 people who gave us fits when we played them in Memphis, and then to have the loss yesterday. It makes sense for people to kind of maybe be readjusting how they're feeling about the team coming off of such an emotional high of the 6-game win streak. But I think we do need to remember that those 6 games were, I think those opponents ended up being better than what I would have guessed at the beginning of the season. But those were nonetheless all pretty, for the most part, under 500 teams. And then for the Kings to play 3 straight, or I'm sorry, Toronto isn't above 500, but Toronto is an incredibly talented team that could finish in the playoffs and turn this thing around the second half of the season. So, for the Kings to go from inferior opponents to some of the better teams in the league, and struggle, it makes sense to me. But I think you're right. Like, home court advantage is absolutely something that this team needs to learn how to control. And if they want to find success later in the season, they're going to have to protect home court. But I with that said, I do think I understand why people are maybe, I don't want to say hesitant to believe again, but just I think it's a healthy amount. It's a healthy reminder that this Kings team is not going to be like the Phoenix Suns teams of last year, where they are 64-15 or whatever it is. Like, we are not an elite team right now. And
No.
yes, we are the number 3 seed in the Western Conference, but a lot of that is because there's so many teams fighting around 500, just trying to figure themselves out. And if I had to guess, by the end of the year, if the Kings continue to play at a 550 win percentage or something like that, around there, they're gonna probably finish in like the 6th seed. So it's all fine and dandy. I understand why people are freaking out, but there are, I would say, to answer your question, I would say that I'm more concerned about the home record than the recent record.
Yeah, and I'm not going to sit here and say the Kings are for sure finishing 3rd or 4th. I think at the media table last night we were talking about.
A
I think
lot.
we were talking about a lot.
We were talking about a lot
We
yesterday.
were talking about a lot that probably cannot be repeated, and some that can. And one thing that can is, I said that I felt truly that the Kings are a top 6 team in the West. And you see teams like Phoenix who are probably going to make a run. The Warriors, who pulled out a win last night against the Grizzlies, they are waiting in the wings. After that, I don't really know. I mean,
I
you
agree.
have Minnesota could maybe string something together if Cat comes back. The Kings see them twice this weekend.
Mhm.
You have Oklahoma City, who is playing some good basketball. The Blazers have won a couple games in a row. The Lakers just got AD back, and they have Rui Hachimura. Maybe they do something else. But to me, the Kings, we know what they are. They have the best offense in the NBA. That's not me being a homer. The numbers are there. They have number one offensive rating, number one in points per game. That is the number one offense in the league. The defense is not good. We have seen the defense get completely picked apart night after night. And last night's game against a Raptors team that is not good offensively, they are a bad offensive team. It just adds to the discussion. They need to make upgrades defensively. They need to bring more length in. You see what the teams that come in every night with have length and they have depth, how they can go right at the Kings' backup centers. I mean, Rashawn Holmes and Chimezie Metu, they bring some punch on the offensive side, but they still are not there defensively. And we're getting, we have a week and a half to go, I think,
Dude,
till the deadline.
I cannot believe this. I literally could not believe this. Our boss Joe mentioned this to me the other day, and I was like, "That's not right, is it?" And then you know what it was, Frank, is I forgot that since our good pal DeMarcus Cousins got traded on All-Star night, I forgot that they moved it to the week prior. They moved the trade deadline back, or would it be up or back? I can never figure
I
that out.
think they moved it before back.
They moved it
Or
before, but would that
move.
be considered move it exactly?
Is that
See,
the same thing?
welcome to my world. I know, I don't know. Point is, yes, like you said, they moved it before the All-Star game. So
Moved it.
now yeah, it's
Oh, my
before the All-Star
brain.
game. I can
Oh my
confidently say
god.
it is before the All-Star game. I don't know if that would be considered moving it up or moving it down. I
What does
guess it
it
would be moving it
mean?
up. I don't know.
I would say you moved it up closer.
Right.
Moved it up closer. Moved it back further. So moved it up. They moved it up. They
Okay.
moved the
Boom.
deadline up.
Up to, I believe it's February 8th or 9th, correct? If I'm
It's
not
February
mistaken.
9th.
It's February 9th. It is officially 2 weeks from today. So that, those talking points and the hot stove is going to get real hot coming here soon. And I cannot believe that we are that close to the trade deadline.
Real quick, I was talking to our boss as well, and I did not notice that Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox graced the cover of a Slam.
Oh, yes, they
I
did.
just saw that.
Yeah.
First of all,
Go
fire
ahead.
cover, and I saw your tweet too, Chris. Do you want to share thoughts on the Slam cover?
Yeah, I don't understand. Somebody commented, I hate social media. Yeah, I just don't understand, and I feel like now I need to clarify that I am not upset about this. This is a fantastic cover. I think the cover looks great. The beam is in it. Domas Fox are in it. Great. But they put "we up" De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis. Not like it's just there's some things that are so obvious that it's like I guess maybe you don't do it because it's too obvious, but like beam me up or something about the beam. You have the beam in the picture. Obviously, this team is known for the beam. How do you not have anything about the beam in the title?
Let me
I
see if
think
I can.
that would make it like completely iconic.
Can people see that? Oh,
There you go. Yeah, right there. It says "we up." For those looking on the YouTube feed, by the way, we should plug this. This podcast is available on Sactown Sports 1140 YouTube page as well. If you want to see our beautiful
I know.
while we.
Please excuse me for being in the dungeon of
Yes.
Sactown Sports 1140. I'm in our old boss, Nick Cattle's office, and it is very, very dark. And this is, the lights are on. So sorry about that. I am not I'm not underground. I am above ground. But
Bunker.
no, I just saw that. I think yesterday there was a little bit of teasing going on with Slam, and they were kind of hinting at it. And at Shootaround yesterday, I did hear from someone that works for the team that said I plead the fifth because we were talking about it at the media, but we were waiting to go into practice, and we were just saying how cool it'd be if they recreated that cover with C Webb and Jay Will, and someone was like, I plead the fifth. I'm like, okay, well, it's funny how that changes. We were talking about this too. Isn't it funny how no comment now is so much more of a comment than just saying something else. Like if someone is going to say no comment,
Yeah.
that itself is a story. Like that's
Well,
not
do you
really.
know? I'm very ignorant to this, but in my opinion, where that started was with I can't remember which one specifically, but it was in the steroid era in baseball. Like they would be asked, "Hey, are you
Mm,
on the juice, or do you know who took the juice?" And I think it was Mark McGuire or Jose Canseco said no comment, which is like again, like that's
okay,
kind of like
what does that mean?
okay, yeah.
I
Or
feel
you
like
could just really say no, I'm not on it, where it's like saying no comment is kind of like
I'm surprised
okay.
Conseco wasn't like hell yeah.
Yeah.
Like check
It
this
might have
out.
definitely might have not been Canseco because Canseco was incredibly open, wasn't he?
I don't know. I don't know if he was kind of saying, "Yeah, I'm on roids. What's up? What are you gonna do about it?" Like, cool,
Mm,
come stop me. You can't. Which no one probably could stop that man. He's a monster.
right.
He still tweets. Like he tweeted at Aaron Judge the other
Oh,
day.
I saw oh my god.
Like, come on, see if we can hit his softball further than me. And he's like just this jacked old
Yeah.
man now hitting softballs like 800 feet.
Speaking
Uh,
of jacked old men, Mike Bibby. Oh my god.
Mike Bibby in the house, and he said he didn't even see. First of all, large man. I think you were saying was it either was joking he was going to break the cowbell when he was ringing it at center court.
No, I did hear somebody say that though. I think that might have been Matt.
I think he was going to break
Uh
the cowbell.
I love Mike. Mike is definitely top 3 favorite Kings of all time. Mike Bibby's a scary looking dude, and I'm not talking about his muscles.
Yeah,
I just kind of looks like he's from a nightmare a little bit.
jeez, man, God,
He's
he
just
he
I mean, he just used to be like he did not
small.
obviously used to be so swole, but like he used to just be a normal looking guy, and now he looks like a meathead,
Well, I mean, he definitely
which he
probably
is.
took something,
Something,
and
something. Speaking
that
of,
makes you. It kind of warps your appearance a little bit. Like
just a little bit.
Barry Bonds also at one point, and I know that some Giants fans listening out there are going to go, "He never tested positive." Okay, well, this man was like literally 178, 180 pounds before he came to the Giants, and his hat size grew like 4 sizes. Did I ever tell you I wrote a paper about that in high
Yeah, you
school?
did.
And my teacher was a diehard Giants fan and just dragged me in front of my whole class and gave me like a D because he's like, "Well, this data you have. So just because a hat size grows, it means you take steroids. So if my head size grows, like that means I'm automatically on steroids. Maybe it's not a change in my diet or like my change in my workout routine." He's like,
Jesus.
how many pitchers took steroids?" And I'm like this 15-year-old kid, just like, I don't know, I
In
don't
this
know. He's
grown
like,
ass debate.
you get a D minus, get out of here. So,
Yeah.
anyways, Mike
Was
Bibby
that
was
Brendan Nunez who was your teacher?
dude. Brendan and his grading. We'll have to do an end of season report card
Right.
episode, but he is a tough grader.
No.
He had Monty in what was an A or an A minus, and we all gave him A
Uh,
pluses.
it was I believe he gave him just an A, which was the point of contention that yeah, I don't
You
really
know,
understand what his logic was, but
I
it was just easy. It's just softball.
I
Just
don't know if
give
he
him A
shared.
plus.
I don't know if he shared this on KP with you guys with you when you guys were talking about it, but Monty actually saw Brendan walking through Doko and talked to him about it. He's like, "Yeah, I
Oh
heard."
yes, yes.
Yeah, Brendan said that he was walking through Doko and Monty saw him and was like, "Hey, like I heard something about some grade or some kind of situation. I saw some video, and it was the video that I posted. Breaking news: KZ Okpala to the Stockton Kings for
Interesting.
some time. Interesting. But yeah, Monty
Didn't know
saw.
KT was on.
I don't know either. I think a lot of players. I think can't anybody go to G League?
I think you have to only have a certain like you have to be in your first 3 years of NBA of your NBA career or something like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, anyways,
And
Monte McNair, yes, said he saw the video, which is kind of funny that Brendan's harsh grading got
yep,
back to the man he was grading. So
yep.
shout out Brendan, Professor Brendan Nunez. Uh,
Speaking of Monty, by the way,
yes,
Monty was
yes.
probably had his hands rubbed. He was like, "Oh, okay, you don't think I'm doing well? Well, guess what, boy? I'm here to stay." Okay. Okay, how you like that? Monty McNair got announced on Tuesday. I briefly mentioned it earlier. Got a 3-year extension, according to Sam Amick of the Athletic. I think Woj was the first one with the extension news. Sam broke the years. I mean, just initial thoughts, Frank. Like Monte McNair gets the extension. It kind of, not even kind of, it came out of nowhere. I mean, I don't think we've really even talked about it much, but it's just kind of been something that's in the air, in the atmosphere, something that's been hanging over this franchise's head for a majority of this year. When was Monte going to get his extension? Would he get an extension? Um, and here it eventually came. Yeah, initial thoughts on Monty's extension.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like that elephant in the room all season long, and to me, it wasn't really a matter of if; it was a matter of when. I think for a lot of people, they kind of viewed it that way. I don't know if you viewed it the same way too, but
Mm-hmm.
look, I think that this was something that had to happen, and Sam Amick also was on with Dave and Jason this morning and said that when asked why did this happen now, why did this happen today, when you look at the success the Kings have had so far, they're 27-20. They won 30 games last year. We have half the season to go. They're on pace to win 45, 46 games. Yesterday's price is not today's price right now. So what is it going to be if you're the GM that cures a 17-year curse? And I think the Kings and Vivek Ranadive got to a point where they said, maybe they were scarred from the Vlade Divac experience because he was given a 4-year extension after taking the Kings to a 10th place finish in 2019 when they won 39 games and didn't make the playoffs. So I think that it push came to shove in this situation. And there was some according to Sam, there was some behind the scenes pushing from Monty's agents. And I mean, how couldn't there be? I mean, the Kings have been one of the best stories in the NBA this season. They very well could have 2 All-Stars. We'll know tonight if Domantas Sabonis is an All-Star starter. And Monte McNair came in. And we can kind of go through some of his main transactions, but he's drafted well. His 3 drafts are Tyrese Halliburton, Davion Mitchell, Keegan Murray. He made one of the biggest, I don't want to say, can I say ballsy? Can I say ballsy
Sure, you
on
already
him?
said it.
I already said it. One of the ballsiest trades in recent NBA history and got dragged for it. People dragged the Kings all through summer. Wouldn't you say through summer the Kings got completely just ridiculed for that trade?
I would say until about a month and a half ago is
Just
when the overall narrative kind of flipped.
like the Kings were,
Not even flipped, but just leveled out.
yeah, the Kings were getting literally put in a headlock and giving noogies.
Yes.
Oh, you
Yes.
guys are so cute. You
Yeah.
traded Tyrese Halliburton for some bonus.
I don't
Yeah,
think
so
cute was the word used, but yes.
sure, sure. Okay,
we can't use the we can't use the word though.
we can't
Yeah.
use words. But Monte McNair did that. Brought in Kevin Huerter. The Atlanta Hawks had to have not a fire sale, but they had too much money on the books. He goes and gets Kevin Huerter. He's having a career year. He drafts Keegan Murray, even though I think a larger portion of the fan base, to me, I was seeing more of people going for Jaden Ivey or Benedict Mathurin. And again, both those players have been good, especially Mathurin, who could be Rookie of the Year. Keegan Murray right now, and I'm not to tease my King of the Week, but we're going to talk about his numbers later, is doing something that I mean, the man is shooting 43% from 3 right now, and his numbers of the past 5 games are incredible. He's coming into his own. I just think what Monte McNair has done with this roster that he was given, he had Buddy Hield in the books for 20 plus million. Marvin Bagley. Trey Lyles is a better basketball player than Marvin Bagley. I think we can kind of agree on that, which is a crazy thing to say.
Yeah.
But
I would say, yeah, he's more of an NBA fit than Marvin.
he deserves it. He deserves to be aligned with Mike Brown. Their contracts are aligned. Actually, Mike Brown, Monte McNair, and De'Aaron Fox's contracts are now lined up, I think, through 2026. So I think it's huge for this franchise. It's huge for the organization. And it's a big win for Monty. It's a big win for the Kings and the fan base.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I mean, Monty has kind of since he came in here, I had inherent trust in him. He's seems like a really smart guy outside of basketball, just a really confident basketball mind, a dude who obviously has put in his time, worked with one of the best analytical organizations in Houston under Daryl Morey. Daryl is an incredibly polarizing GM, but I think Monty kind of displays all of the best parts of Daryl. It seems like the most analytical parts of Daryl seem to be the Monty half, and like Daryl kind of has his own eccentric side that I think makes Daryl Daryl. But Monty's been incredible. I think, you mentioned the Tyrese Halliburton draft pick. That to pick him at 12th is a huge accomplishment and almost should earn him an if Tyrese is still on this team, I think that earns him an extension by itself. You mentioned this Domas trade, all the criticism that he got for that. He mentioned, I think it was in his Dave and Jason interview, that they're not trying to win press conferences. I think that again is just kind of like speaks to the confidence that Monty has, not only in himself but in his entire staff. We saw Wes Wilcox also gets an extension with Monty as well. That's his right hand man. Wes is incredibly prevalent in the Sacramento Kings organization. For those who don't know, like, I think I see Wes more, front facing than I see Monty. Wes is out on the floor every game. Wes is always walking around the practice facility, always walking around the building in general. And not that Monty isn't, but I just think in general, Wes is an incredibly prevalent figure for this team, and I don't think that should be overlooked either. Wes is completely a GM worthy candidate, and somebody that I would kind of be surprised if Wes doesn't get poached at some point here, if he's not given, like I don't know what their contract situation is, but I would be surprised if Wes is here for the duration of his contract. But yeah, just an incredible move for the Kings, absolutely deserved. You kind of said it all, but all the moves that he has made to put this team in the situation that they are in right now, this extension couldn't come soon enough, and I'm excited to see now if this kind of changes Monty at all. Not necessarily in terms of like him, whatever, feeling even more confident, but just does he feel the security of, okay, maybe I don't think this will happen, but do I have the security now to kind of trade a Harrison Barnes or keep a Harrison Barnes even? Let's just say we'll say keep a Harrison Barnes.
Yeah.
Whereas, where if he's feeling insecure about his contract situation still, you might be like, hey, I don't have any lock here to the future. I'll trade Harrison Barnes for a win now piece, and Kings be damned. I don't care about the future if they don't care about my future. So now that Monty's kind of locked down, it'll be interesting to see kind of his long-term vision for this team, because I think in the short term, the goal was to get this team to a competent, playable level. Now they're there. What's Monty's plan for turning this playoff contender into, possibly a championship contender or a team that can at least be in the mix for the next 4 or 5 years here?
Yeah, a perennial contender to me. I mean, you don't want to just get there, and that's been Monty's. I mean, he is very calculated with his responses in the media. He's given a lot of similar responses, a lot of reusing of the same phrases. And one thing he has said a lot is, we don't want to just get there. We want to stay there as far as the playoffs go. And the roster, the way it's constructed right now, to me, is very close to a point where I will say I feel confident the team can compete for a playoff spot. But there are some questions. What are you going to do with Harrison Barnes? He is expiring. He is playing the best basketball of the season right now. And we know who Harrison Barnes is. You know who Harrison Barnes is, Chris. I know that you are a Harrison Barnes. Yes. I think you're muted. Yeah, you're muted.
I said, unfortunately, now is not the time to talk about bad Harrison Barnes. Not unfortunately, I shouldn't say that, because that really makes me sound like a hater. But Harrison has been incredible.
Maybe a King of the Week nominee?
He's definitely, we'll get there.
Maybe. I don't think we can give it to Fox or Sabonis this week, man. We got to get creative. Yeah. So you got to think.
We can't go Sabonis. We definitely cannot go Sabonis.
No, we can't go Sabonis. So strong. Yeah. Turnovers. Yeah. No, I think they have the core. They have the pieces. They have De'Aaron Fox. They have Domantas Sabonis, who, to me, I feel like we can agree it's more likely than not he signs a max extension next summer. He's going to get paid more here than he can get paid anywhere else. I think he's happy here. He has a place in Napa, which is something that I learned.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about that. I don't know if they were correct about that. I feel like he might have been staying at a place in Napa and probably doesn't own a place in Napa.
Maybe
it wouldn't really make a lot of sense.
Maybe he's a wine aficionado. Maybe. You never know.
Definitely maybe, but I feel like he was just Airbnb-ing something, if I had to guess.
Point is, to me, they have the pieces. Yeah. They have the pieces. They have the core pieces. But now you have to surround those pieces with guys that can add on to it. Oh, there's Jay. There's Jay Morris pointing and laughing at me. What do you want? Yeah, he's laughing his ass off. It's big for the organization, though. It's big for the Kings. One thing that also was brought up was, can this bolster like the Kings as far as how free agents view the Kings? Like you have Monte McNair locked in, Mike Brown, De'Aaron Fox. They're all under contract for years. I would imagine Domantas Sabonis, if he can get locked in soon in the next year, that'll help too. Does that make the Kings a more enticing destination for free agents? I think so. Do you think so?
I mean,
if they sustain their success, let's say the Kings finish 5th in the West this year,
yeah.
Are they a
I
destination?
mean, what level of player are we talking about? Are we saying like
B tier? B tier.
Okay.
Like
it's like a third star, you're saying, essentially.
Yes.
Or like a third star, like a third piece to this De'Aaron Fox. Could they, in theory? Sure. I think without a doubt there's a better chance now than there was before. I think
like Jeremy Grant. Like if he was a free agent, he's like a B tier, C tier free agent.
I think the bigger question is like, is the Sacramento tax now gone? We've always talked about how the Kings would have to pay that extra $3-4 million to kind of convince somebody to come over here. Is that gone? Because I don't think it was ever to a point, even at their maybe at their worst, but I don't think it has necessarily been at a point in the past few years, at least, where it's been like people are just straight up like, I'm not going there. Mm-hmm. I don't believe. I think that, if the money is right, anyone will go anywhere. But I think that there is a real possibility that there are vets and, players around the league who could actually specifically look at the Sacramento situation now and possibly be like, I can help that team in some capacity. Like I think I can bring maybe Jay Crowder or something like that is like, that's a bad example. He's washed, but somebody like that would definitely be more willing to specifically point out the Kings and be like, I want to join that roster. So, of course, I'm going to kind of sit on the fence and not directly answer your question, but I think that I think the Kings' reputation is definitely been rebuilt. And after the fun that they've had this year, I think it'd be tough for somebody to not want to come here.
Yeah, and I'm not going to sit here and I'm not trying to get ahead of myself. Those who might be listening saying, right, they're already talking about getting BC.
We're signing Michael Jordan.
I just think
that was all I had. We're just signing Michael Jordan.
We're signing Michael Jordan. Michael B. Jordan?
Yeah. Shoot. I would rather take Michael B. Jordan over 50 Cent at this point. I'm not going to lie.
Really?
I have not been impressed with our celebrity fan. It's just like so random to me. I don't know how we got here, but
I've seen people call for like getting Brie Larson to come to a game. She's from Sacramento. Greta Gerwig, maybe. I mean, Hassan Minaj came to a game earlier this season. Am I missing anybody?
I mean, those are definitely the main ones. Dusty's been at quite a few games, but I don't think Dusty's really like a figure, like a Brie Larson or something like that. It's just tough. I think it's just weird that they had to pull somebody who has no direct ties to Sacramento or the Kings. And like, it's also 50 Cent, who kind of was like relevant in the early 2000s. And that was 15 years ago. I'm not saying he's not rich and he's not still a very popular figure, but I just think we could have maybe pulled somebody a little more recent or relevant than 50 Cent, but it's whatever. I digress. It really doesn't matter.
Well, they'll look around. Maybe they'll find someone more local. For the playoffs, though, all those Sacramento celebrity. I mean, I'm trying to wonder which celebrities would come to a Kings home playoff game. Probably like Eric Armstead.
Right. Minaj will be Hassan Minaj will be there. Nicki Minaj.
Nicki Minaj, maybe not. Dylan Carlson from the Cardinals would probably be here. Logan Webb from the Giants.
Logan Webb will be there. Afungo will be there.
Afungo will be there.
Who else we seen?
I don't think Brie Larson's sack proud, man. I think she grew up here and she was like till 5 or 6. I don't think she even
Yeah,
cares about Sacramento.
that's
I wish
interesting.
Aaron Judge like cared more about
Well,
not just
I mean,
not the Yankee
I
fan of me, but
I would hate this, but doesn't Aaron Rodgers allegedly like the Kings?
allegedly, but I think he's more in the Bucks. Like he actually like is I think he's a part
Okay.
owner of the Bucks. He stopped talking about the Kings when he became a part owner of the Bucks. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But he did tweet about like Vladi and stuff. Because yeah, he grew up in
Mhm.
Chico.
Right.
And
Right.
Chico.
Mm, I
Um,
don't know.
I
Yeah.
don't know. Anyone out there
Got to get
listening,
working on it.
what celebrities can come would want to come? I don't have too much more. I just wanted to point out that tonight we will know if Domantas Sabonis will be an NBA All-Star starter. There have been some votes. Some out there in the voting process have come out and declared they voted for Domantas Sabonis as a starter. JJ Redick
Mhm.
voted for Sabonis. Zach Lowe voted for him. Sam Amick was the other one, voted for him as a starter. And it makes me wonder because JJ Redick was anti Kings for a
Mhm.
while. Zach Lowe's pretty neutral. And Sam Amick, I think he's very kind of guarded and close about how his like the positivity about the Kings. He's very like, I don't know, they're not really quite there yet. They could fall out. He's realistic. I'd say he's a very
Mhm.
realistic Kings not personality, but it's like different branches of the voting process.
Yeah.
Voted for Sabonis. Somewhat, it makes me wonder who else out there that's kind of like neutral would vote for him because as far as who's more deserving, if Anthony Davis were to make it over him, that'd be at this point I would be pretty upset
Yeah.
because Davis has
Definitely.
missed a lot of time. So there's a possibility tonight at 4.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head right there. I think durability is going to be the thing that probably gives Sabonis the starter nod. Honestly, I think, if we can kind of mock it up in our heads, like it's going to be Jokic. He's making the team.
Mm-hmm.
Luka's making the team.
LeBron,
Steph might not. LeBron's making the team. Longevity.
there's 3.
Um, there's three, and then it's kind of like a Ja, a Steph,
Or
Domas,
I saw Shea got it's
Shea.
three forwards and 2 guards. So one guard's Luka.
The one guard's Luca. Two of the forwards are LeBron and Jokic.
Yep.
So it's really
So
just the
there's
other forward spot that Domas is fighting for,
I think
which kind of has to be him.
it's got to be him. Or
It, you can't give it to Lauri Markkanen, who's on a worse team, who, yeah, his numbers are for sure good, but I think Domas's overall numbers and the popularity, frankly, people like to say that the national media doesn't talk about the Kings. National media don't say nothing about the Utah Jazz.
no. And
So, we get a lot more notoriety than them.
here's this is Zach Lowe's ballot. His ballot is Luka, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander,
Makes
Nikola
sense.
Jokic,
Sure.
Domantas Sabonis, LeBron James.
Yep.
Now the reserve locks, he has 2 guards, Steph and Ja. Those have nothing to do with
Yeah. Domas.
Sabonis.
Right.
That's going to be pretty much Luka, and then it'll be either Steph or Ja. I think it should probably be Ja. He's probably played more than Steph. He's missed a
Right.
lot of time with the shoulder, but he'll make it on the reserves. But if it's Sabonis or Lauri Markkanen, and if you want to go with the Salt Lake City aspect of it, I mean,
No.
I just don't know. I mean, he can make the team, but I don't think he deserves to start just because it's in Salt Lake City, which to me, though, that's very scary. It could happen that voters might say, it's in Salt Lake City and Markkanen's been good for the Jazz.
Mm-hmm.
But a part of me is thinking that it's very realistic that Sabonis is a starter. The question of does he deserve to be a starter and is will he are two different questions. He absolutely deserves to be a starter, but this is all political. All the voting's political.
How crazy is that lineup, though? I mean, regardless of the other guard that's selected, just a Luka, LeBron, Domas, Jokic lineup is like got to be the greatest passing lineup that
Yes.
you could probably assemble, right?
It's a bummer because I want to see it in action, but we're not going
Yeah.
to because did you see how they're picking the teams?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
It's gonna be like
yes.
at school. I want like they're literally gonna pick it right before the game starts.
Yeah, which I do like better than doing it like whatever 2 weeks or whatever a week beforehand
Yeah.
because I hate that broadcast that they would do would just be absolutely terrible.
It was funny though. What was the beef? Was it Embiid picked
They didn't want to take
Harden or something?
Harden, I think. Yeah, I think it was KD and or no, was it Giannis and
Oh, it was
Embiid or
KD. It was KD and LeBron, and KD didn't pick Harden, I'm pretty sure. Because the Nets had just traded him
right,
to
right,
the Sixers.
right,
And then there
right.
was like
That's
there was
right.
like there was like a Westbrook beef, I think, at some
Mhm.
point. I don't know. It's oh yeah, Westbrook and Durant. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I
mostly
think the
Durant.
public embarrassment yeah, it is it is
Yeah.
definitely mainly centered around KD, but I think it's like the public embarrassment of like, oh yeah, like exactly. Russ didn't get picked or got picked last and like James got picked last and no one wants to be known as that. Not that literally anybody knows. I can't tell you who got picked last in last year's All-Star draft, but yeah, it should be interesting just them kind of going out. I think they're doing it in the locker room beforehand.
Yeah. They're just gonna come
Like,
out and it's gonna be like surprise.
yeah, I don't know. I get it. I understand the they're trying to make it a little more schoolyard vibe, but yeah, I don't know. I don't love it.
Temperature check before we move on. I think we're
Please.
moving on. Temperature check. This is January 26th. We have a week until we know the reserves. Is De'Aaron Fox an all-star?
I wouldn't say he's hurt his case. I don't know if he's necessarily helped his case in the past couple weeks. It still kind of feels like the vibe is all-star replacement. Either last one in or last one out or first one in.
Here's how I view it. If the voting's still happening, he's not going to make it. If it already happened, he might make it because Damian Lillard is like the name we're hearing alongside him. And Dame dropped a 60 piece last night. So if they're voting, if people are voting this morning and they're sending him out tonight, I don't know if he's going to make that ballot. Recency bias is very real, like with some of this stuff.
100%.
Yeah. So I think injury replacement is a very real possibility. And I would not want to wish an injury on anybody just to give someone an opportunity. Right. I think to me, if the Kings have one all-star, it's a huge step forward. Really, for the franchise, to have an all-star talent, a representative, to see that name up there with the Kings logo. You're going to have Keegan Murray in the Rising Stars game.
Yep.
TBD on Kevin Huerter or Keegan in three-point shootout. I think the fact that Keegan is going to be there, he might have a pretty good chance of actually being in the three-point shootout. And I think I was saying he could maybe win that. I mean, his shot is he can do it in different ways. He can hit shots off the curl, on the move, but his set 3-point shot seems like it goes in every time. I don't know. Yeah. I think there's numbers we can find on NBA.com for that, but and then I don't know about Davion Mitchell. The more the time it goes by, I think that I don't know if there's a spot for him at this point for the USA team.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned that to me the other day, and I really honestly didn't even think about Davion as a potential member of the Team USA team. It's probably going to be like Jalen Green. Who else here?
I think we pulled it up last week, but I can't remember either. But right. I can do it again. 2022 Rising Stars. Yeah, Jalen Green. Cade Cunningham is going to.
Cade's out.
He's out. The roster. Cole Anthony, I think he was a sophomore.
Yeah.
That's World.
I really can't think of many guards in the past two drafts.
Is Scotty?
He might be Canadian, but no. Scotty is American.
Wikipedia had the. And yeah, sorry, I look at stuff.
Jose Alvarado. Does he count?
Is he a sophomore?
I think so. I don't remember him before last year, so very interesting.
Franz Wagner will be on World, I think, right? Yeah. Chris Duarte, I don't think he's played much this year.
Chris Duarte, right?
Maybe there is a spot for him.
Nemhard, I think.
Bones Highland, Scotty Barnes.
Bones might be in his third year now.
He's a rookie. He was a rookie last year.
Really?
Yeah, he's only 22.
Wow.
I don't know. Point is, the Kings will have some representatives. We'll know tonight about if Sabonis will be an all-star. Tonight is in Thursday night. Fox, a week from today, and Sabonis, if Sabonis is not announced tonight, will be hopefully selected, one or both, next week.
Yes.
And everything else is kind of unfold. Again, Chris and I are planning on going to All-Star Weekend. We think that
Plenty.
we're pretty locked in. I think we're going to be there. So that's
Mm-hmm.
exciting. And other than that, I don't know. Kings have won 7 of 9. And I'm not going to
Yep.
overreact and say the sky's falling. 7-game road trip. How you feel about 7-game road trip?
Not great. I mean, the opponents are about not. I don't want to say as easy as they get, but in terms of 7-game road trips, it's pretty light in terms of the opponents. They had a brutal road trip earlier in the year. This is not that. 2 games against Minnesota, 2 against Houston, New Orleans, Indiana, San Antonio. You know, you gotta kind of feel like if the Kings lose 3 games, if they go 4-3, it's kind of like a not disappointment, but you don't feel great about it. I think 5-2 is kind of the benchmark where it's like, all right, we took care of business there, and we're feeling good. But I think that there's definite potential for them to go 6-1, 5-2 for sure. I expect them to split probably the series with Minnesota. And then who knows when you're going against the Pelicans, who the hell knows what team you're going to go face on that
Zion will
night.
not be
So,
playing. Zion will
right. We
not be
do know that.
playing.
We do know
No,
that.
so I think I'm going to kind of piggyback off 5-2. If they go 5-2, they come home with a 10 games over 500 record, 32-22, going into a back-to-back against Dallas, which I was telling you, I've had that circled for a while as far as like the biggest crowds of the year. Luka against the Kings at home on a Friday, Saturday back-to-back is going to be crazy,
Mhm.
especially before the All-Star break. Those are the last home games before the All-Star break. I need 5-2 for this team to make me feel comfortable. Anything else, I could live with 4-3, but anything else, I'm going to be a little not concerned, but
Mhm.
they need to beat Minnesota. They need to take at least one. They need to sweep Houston, and they need to beat Indiana, who's in shambles right now. Indiana, I think they've lost like 9 of 10 or something like that since Tyrese went
Yeah.
down.
Since
And
Tyrese are now.
I think Tyrese is still going to be out for a bit longer.
Mhm.
I hope he
Yeah, he's gonna miss.
plays.
Yeah, no, he's gonna miss that game.
I need 5. I need
Mhm.
5.
That would also put the Kings at 16-11 for the season on the road, which would be an incredible road record. There's only 2 teams right now in the NBA, both in the Eastern Conference, that have that good of a road record. Boston 17-9 right now, and Brooklyn 16-11. So if the Kings could do that, we talked earlier about the Kings protecting home court. If you're that good of a road team, I mean, not saying you don't need to protect home court, but that's going to be a really good way to have a ton of victories at the end of the year.
If that's the Kings, like one of their things this year is being a good road team, it's a pretty good thing to have. It's pretty
Pretty
good.
good.
If you can win on the road, which they've proven they can so far,
Right.
not bad.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I agree with you that I'm kind of I didn't have too much to say about this week, so
No,
I think I'm feeling good about the episode. Do we want to do awards?
give it. Yeah, it's your turn. I need you to start us
Yeah.
off this week. I'm intrigued to see who you're going to pick.
Well, we
Oh
mentioned no, I know that you're going to give it to Keegan.
no, you can take
So
him. If you want him, take him.
I am going to take him. I
Take him.
will. That's all I needed
I
was
can
the
pivot.
okay to take him.
I
Okay,
have I
good.
have I have reserves.
Good. Good, because Keegan has really just I told I think Brendan yesterday, um I have seen more from Keegan in the past 2 weeks in terms of career development
Mm-hmm.
than I feel like I had seen from him all season. Not that necessarily he was playing poorly by any stretch leading into these past couple games, but just the expanding of his game has expanded so much in the past 2 weeks. I feel like putting the ball on the ground, attacking the rim, finishing at the rim, drawing fouls. And I've mentioned countless times how his defense has improved, especially on the weak side, coming over, drawing charges as well, leading the team in blocks. I mean, Keegan has just been so good this week, and really longer than a week. And it's really started. I've officially started to reevaluate how good I think Keegan can be long
Mm-hmm.
term. I was not anticipating this kind of level of confidence from him. I thought he would always kind of be this timid, shy guy who was just going to be okay with the role that he had, never really felt comfortable in the league. And these past few games, man, you can just see, yeah, he's got a very serious demeanor, but it's also like he's just locked in and he's really focused and intense. Intense is not something I expected. I thought he would be a shy, quiet guy, not like an intense, laser focused uh, killer. Like he is like cold blooded, and that's been really good to see. So hopefully I won't have to do a 180 on this. But Keegan Murray is my king of the week.
Keegan Murray over the past 5 games, 17.6 points, 8 rebounds, 62% from the field, 57% from 3 on almost 7 attempts. This man has been going crazy, hitting the boards. 3-point shot is, I think it's going every time, and it kind of is. And like you said, his confidence is getting there. Like he had a drive last night going in traffic with his left hand, kind of a wraparound layup. And it kind of surprises you seeing him move that quickly and be that athletic, because you saw it in college. Like I when I watched him in college, just envisioned someone completely different, like a killer, like a guy that was just like a bad man, a guy that was going to go out there and just like take over games and be super aggressive, because that's who he was in college. And in the NBA, he hasn't really been that. And then when you hear his demeanor and hear how he speaks and carries himself, he's just kind of a guy that kind of is, waiting off in the corner and just spotting up. But that's not really the case right now. He is taking a huge leap forward. The Kings have needed it. And alongside Harrison Barnes, who may or may not be my king of the week, they've been a huge part why the Kings have won 7 in the past 9 games. I mean, the shooting has been so huge for the Kings, and they get to surround Fox and Sabonis with guys like Murray, Barnes, and Herter. They're all shooting around 40% from 3, and Keegan right now, to me, is showing he's one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. That's why he deserves to be in 3-point shootout. And now I hope he is. I'm kind of pivoting off of Herter needs to be there to Keegan. Herter could be there too, but if Keegan is going to be there, let him go shoot off the rack. He'd love that. He'd be very excited to shoot 3-pointers. Very excited to be
Always
here.
something I watched growing up, and it's just a cool opportunity to be able to participate.
I think I could
Are
win.
you going to win, Keegan? Absolutely.
Maybe. My king of the week. Your favorite player. Brennan's favorite player. A confirmed, not washed, Harrison Barnes, who has been playing so well. The extend HB conversation has come back. You mentioned the Monte McNair situation. Maybe now that Monty is locked in, Mike Brown's locked in. Harrison Barnes is a very, very smart man. Definitely probably calculated in what he wants to do for the rest of his career. I think that maybe this improves the chances that he will be here longer. I think the Kings should look into that as well. I mean, you have to make sure you can get better than what you have to make sure that the replacement for Harrison Barnes is better than Harrison Barnes. That's been the biggest topic of conversation since HB rumors started floating a year or 2 years ago. Your replacement needs to be as good or better. And I don't know if there is that out there right now. The Kings could try to go find Jeremy Grant this offseason, maybe get someone else of that caliber. I just don't know if it's going to replicate what Harrison Barnes has brought to the locker room. And I just think that he's a huge part of his team. I think that Mike Brown said he's the heart and soul of his team. Well, he's been the heart and soul of the offense for the most part. Him and Keegan have been carrying the Kings. Harrison Barnes, I'll go back a little further even. Since January 9th, Harrison's averaging 21 points per game, 57% from the field, 57 from 3. That's 9 games. This man has been going, and again, to even kind of bring up a little bit, the last 7 games, 22 points per game, 60% from 3. It's just, no matter how you want to slice it, no matter how many game span you go back, for most of January, he has been one of the best scorers. I mean, he was runner-up, I think, for one of the runner-ups for Western Conference Player of the week that Sabonis won. It just kind of is when all these things are going right for the Kings. You have Sabonis, who was playing well. Fox was playing well for a pretty good stretch there. And even last night, even though the turnovers were there, he finished almost the double-double. Things are clicking for the Kings right now. And again, Harrison Barnes has been a huge part of that. I'm not going to let one bad game deter me from how good I feel about this team. But Harrison Barnes and Keegan Murray both playing together in unison, because the biggest problem before was usually only one is going at a certain time. Mm-hmm. They're both going. And the biggest problem with the Kings now is the bench. Malik Monk struggling, as we have. I don't think we've talked about that at all either. But
no,
not much really to talk about that. HB's been great.
No.
Malik's not been great.
Yeah, no, I think HB has been fantastic. I mean, I really, it's been well documented how I feel about Harrison Barnes, and I will, I always promise I will be the first to admit when I'm wrong. And Harrison has been fantastic. He has made himself, like you mentioned, just unmovable from this team. I think what he provides, like you mentioned, off the floor as well as on the floor, he's a very steadying presence. He's a pro. He's a dude that the Kings are someone like him the Kings are going to need if they're going to make any sort of playoff run. They need someone who's been there before. Now, granted, Harrison didn't play well when he was there before, but he is still somebody who has been through those battles, and somebody who is at the point of his career where he is going to take these things incredibly seriously. And you would have to imagine, hopefully, that in those games, Harrison Barnes is going to be there when the Kings need him most. So that's, I think, to your point, Harrison Barnes. We've said it countless times, but yeah, if you're going to get rid of Harrison Barnes, you're going to need some other version of somebody who does the things that Harrison Barnes does. And the problem has just been consistency. And really, since the turn of the year, he's been incredibly consistent. He's had double figures in every single game of this year. That's something that has just been a problem with Harrison routinely throughout his career, where he'll have these 20-point stretches, and then all of a sudden, for 2 or 3 games, he'll have 8 and 10 points. But he's been incredibly efficient, which has been huge for the Kings this season because, like you mentioned, they just have so many different options of Keegan and Malik and Domas and Fox, and all these guys have to get their shots. Harrison's never going to get over 10 to 12 shots in a game. So the fact that he can remain efficient and really turn his entire season around, because it was the Harrison Barnes mystery at the start of this year, trying to figure out what the hell happened to his game. He couldn't make shots. He just didn't look himself. And now he's so hot. He's been so hot for about a month now that his numbers are finally starting to look back to normal. And he's actually kind of putting together an incredibly impressive season, statistically, yet again, where he's just right back into his 15 points per game, 5 rebounds, shooting just under 30 or 40% from three, 48% from the field. This is a guy who, if you would have checked 2 months ago, those are low 40s from the field, low 30s from three. And like him shooting above 50% from both the field and three for about a month and a half now. It's been kind of crazy to see, because it's like the most extreme high and low of Harrison Barnes's career. So still kind of on brand for him, but I'm very, very happy to see him playing so incredibly well right now, and hopefully it doesn't fall off.
Yeah, I mean, his December was bad. 31% from three. I mean, we're talking about a 20% increase in 3-point shooting here. And the confidence is there and the volume is there. I mean, he's not shying away from the opportunities. He's a veteran. Harrison knows how this goes. He did hint at maybe growing out a playoff push beard, but he said it would only be for home court advantage. So remember, he tried doing that a couple times. It didn't work out, but
yeah, his beard is not. Yeah, he did try and do that. What, 2 years ago?
I think he did it. I think he did it last year too. Past 2 years, he did it, I think.
Yeah, it has not worked out well either.
No, it hasn't. It hasn't. I think he signed a deal with like a shaving company though when he shaved it off. But yeah, I asked him and he said that maybe for home court. So
yeah,
that's
he's got a real scruffy beard. Like his is not. I don't want to say patchy, but it's just a little. I don't know. Not the cleanest.
I can't even grow a beard, so I can't talk.
It's not fun.
I can't grow a beard. Anything else?
Nope. I think that's it for me as my camera kind of goes out of focus. No, I'm good. I think it's been a pretty up and down week in terms of Kings basketball. I think, we met an emotional high and then the emotional low as well. I think it's kind of, we're really starting to feel like these are the dog days of the NBA season. We're really in the heart of this season in the 40 to 50 game stretch here. It's kind of natural for things to slip a little bit. And, I don't think, like you mentioned earlier, I don't think now is the time to start overreacting, because the fact is we still have a lot of basketball left.
Mm-hmm.
We still have 2.5 months of basketball left, and a lot can still happen from now until the end of the season. You mentioned the trade deadlines in 2 weeks. I imagine next week will probably be pretty heavy on rumors and if the Kings should make a minor move, if there's maybe potential for a major move. It's all pretty quiet right now, but I definitely suspect that things start ramping up this week. Do you have any final closing thoughts?
Kings are good. I'm not going to overreact to one loss. They're a good team. Moving sucks. I've been moving for the past week, not
Oh,
having a
that's
fun
right.
time.
Yeah.
I'm already there right now. I have to go do more today when I'm done with this. Got to move out of the old house still. Got to pick up a TV, which is fun. We're getting a new TV. Got to go see a fridge guy. No, man, but the Kings are good, and they are honestly close to me to really solidifying themselves as a team that is there. They need to create a little more separation. They're doing it. They have a 2-game lead from third to fourth. I don't know if they're going to be third or fourth when the season's over, but creating that separation between themselves and in my mind, the 7-8 is huge to
Yeah.
me. They need to continue to grow in that regard. And
Mhm.
just to kind of peek where they're right now, just a little update because I'd like to know. I don't know how far away they are from the 9th, 10th seed. Right now, they have a 4.5 game lead from being out of the playoff picture completely. That's a pretty
Mhm.
good cushion in NBA terms. I think about things a lot in baseball terms, looking at standings, as far as if you're 4 games back in baseball, you could close that within 4 days.
Right.
NBA is a little different. If you have a 4.5 game lead or a cushion, that takes probably 2 weeks, maybe 2+
Mhm.
weeks to close that gap.
Yeah.
So the Kings need to keep pace. Really is keep pace. I don't want to say play 500 basketball and just kind of plateau to the playoffs. I want more. Like I said, I want 5-2 on this road trip. But barring, and I'm knocking on wood, barring injury, they are a team that should be there in my mind in the top 6, top 7. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling confident. Until I have a reason to really feel bad, which I know
Mhm.
they opened up the year with a 4-game losing streak. They had a 3-game skid a little while ago. Those are really the only big blemishes. The Kings have been
Mhm.
very good at winning 2, losing 1, winning 3, losing 2. They keep taking steps forward, and they haven't ever gotten to a point where they've been treading water for too long. They are 7-3 over the past 10. They have the best offense in the NBA. Their point differential is third in the West as well. They're in a very good spot. So don't let one bad game deter you.
Can I ask you one possibly dumb question?
Sure.
Would you rather be the 6th seed and lock up a playoff berth,
Mm-hmm.
or be the 7th seed, put yourself in the play in, but you get a home game, guaranteed home game with that 7 seed? Uh, and if you lose that, you get a second home game in the play in, and then potential playoffs.
I think it
Just in terms of
depends.
fun and you get
Sure.
a guaranteed
I think
exciting game.
it depends on who the 1 and 2 are. Like if they were going to be the 7 right now and they won that game, they get Memphis. I don't want
Right.
Memphis in a
I
7-game
don't either.
series.
Or Denver.
I would.
I don't want
I'm not that afraid. I don't know. I think the Kings match up better with Denver than they do against the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies
to. 100%.
really fully healthy have just completely dismantled the Kings. The Kings won
Yes.
by 33 the other night. Got to hand it to them. I mean, the Grizzlies are still a tough team without their best players, but I don't know. I don't know what happens if Ja
I
and
don't
Adams play.
I'm not trying to make headlines here, but I don't think the Kings are mentally tough enough to go against the Grizzlies
No,
in a
they
playoff series.
need to be tougher. That's also like another, I guess, conversation to keep an eye on is they need to be tougher. They don't really have, I mean, they have Malik had got into a scuffle with Garrison Matthews at one time. I don't think I've ever seen Sabonis got mad at a ref last year. Like that's the only
Right.
person like actually he kind of bumped him.
Right.
I want to see more bite from this team. I want to
Right.
see more fight. Not like
Got to put
fights,
Alex Len out there, bro.
but there you go. Put Alex out there.
Alex is
Like
the enforcer.
was it like in hockey, like a goon, a guy you just throw out there to go
Yeah.
fight somebody?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I want to answer your question. It depends. If it was Denver in the 2 seed, I'd probably be like, yeah, I think Denver Kings would be a fun series. I don't know if the Kings would win it. I'm not saying they'd win, but I could see it going 5-6. You
Mm-hmm.
know, Memphis, I don't know if it goes 5. I don't
Yeah.
know. With everyone healthy, Steven Adams, Desmond Bain, John Morant, I don't know. I don't think the Kings are that caliber of a team. They're good unless the Kings make them. You never know. The Kings maybe might make a move where we're like, whoa, they're way different now. Maybe they go pick up Plumlee as a backup 5 and an impact defender at the 3-4 spot at the bench. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they make a whoa move, because that's what Monty's been doing. Monty's made moves where the Sabonis trade was out of nowhere. Fox was supposed to be traded a year ago. I mean, we'll kind of reflect on that maybe next week, but Fox was the name that was like, he's gone. Kings are going to be moving somebody, and it's not Halliburton. So you never know what could happen. But I think hosting a playoff game or a playing game would for sure be fun. And in my mind, they're going to get games at home in the postseason. It's just, where is it going to be? I refuse to think otherwise right now, which is a crazy thought process, I know, but I refuse to like sit here and worry and think it's going to fall apart. When they start losing games, I'll deal with it then.
Yes.
That's my advice to myself.
That is great. I co-sign that 100%. Let's not start freaking out until they give us something to freak out about.
We're scarred. I mean, I think fans are scarred, don't you? Like, things have been going wrong for so long. It feels weird to be like, it's just
the number 3 seed in the West right now, and the fact people think that we can still fall out. The fact that I just said, like, can we fall out to 7 right now from the 3 seed, I think is telling. And I think that there is a healthy amount of awareness that you can have that is a possibility, but for it, that's at this point, that's probably in under 15% of a probability, right? Something like that.
No, I mean, again, off the this is one algorithm, whatever you want to call it, playoff probabilities. Right now on basketballreference.com, the Kings are projected to finish 3rd in the West, 47 wins. They have a 97.3% chance of making the playoffs. They have a 75% chance of winning the division. I think they still have a 4-game lead in the division, if I'm not mistaken, which is
3. It's 2.5.
2.5. So that's falling. So that the Clippers and Suns are coming. So, Warriors too. I don't think it's realistic that 75% number is accurate, but the Kings do have the advantage if they don't play the Warriors again. They do play Phoenix and the Clippers, I think, 3 more times apiece. So that is one to keep an eye on. But enjoy it. Enjoy the highs. The lows are the lows, but until the Kings are really in a position where I'm talking we've lost 4 of 5.
Yeah.
That's when I'll be like, oh, maybe they are in trouble. But until then, they have answered every time they've lost a game. They have responded. Right. We're going to see on Saturday if they can do it again.
Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling good about things, and like you said, we'll just we got a kind of easier road trip than it could have been. So if the Kings start losing games here, then maybe we can be concerned.
Yeah,
let's wrap this thing up.
Yep.
Well, we kind of already have multiple times. For Frankie Cartoscelli. I need to start playing the music. I can't end without playing the music.
Tune in to Kings Weekly on Saturday.
Yes, thank you all so much for joining us today. You can check until noon. You can also check us out on Deuce and Mo on Friday, and I believe every Friday moving forward from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. That should hopefully be the funnest time of the week. Looking forward to that. And I think that's it. Kings don't play until Saturday. Again, that will be in Minnesota. And then again on Monday, again against the Minnesota Timberwolves. For Frankie Cartoscelli, my name is Chris Watkins. Thank you all for listening.